I forgot to set my phone up. I'm gonna try to do it. This is gonna be interesting. Hey everybody, happy Monday. I'm gonna try to go live on Instagram this time too, so give me a second. I've never gone live on Instagram, by the way. I'm gonna try to set my phone up right here because I don't have my phone case. But let me know if y'all can hear me. Give me a second. I think I did not put on my mic. Okay. Let me know if you can hear me. I don't think I'll be able to use my mic. If you can hear me, type 1. If you can see me, type 2. I want to make sure y'all can hear me before I get started. Yeah, you should be able to. So if you can hear me, type 1. If you can see me, type 2. Okay. Akina says we can hear you. Thank you for letting me know. Perfect. Okay. So as y'all know, and I'm going to try to do this on Instagram too while I'm talking, but as y'all know, thanks, Bryce. Venkatesh from Akina. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Put your questions that you have in the comments. Thanks, Ebony. Put your questions in the comments, and it's first come, first serve. So whatever questions you have for today, go ahead and start dropping them in the comments so I can, while I figure out this LinkedIn thing. I mean, the Instagram thing. I think you just click this button. Let's see. Okay. Okay. I think I'm live on Instagram too now. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'll see at the end. But okay, so this is the first time that I'm also adding Instagram to my live Q&As. So hey everybody on Instagram. This is my live Monday live aspiring CRA Q&As that I usually do on LinkedIn and YouTube. But somebody asked me, Daryl says you tell the guy, got to, right? And you do too. But somebody asked me, why don't I ever go live on Instagram? I don't know. Instagram is not my place. And then also on top of the fact that I use StreamYard and Instagram doesn't let you use third-party streaming platform. So that's why. But I was like, okay, well, I could just use my phone. Alicia says she can hear me, see you in here. Okay, thanks, Alicia. But yeah, so that's why I haven't been on Instagram live. But I was like, okay, well, let me try and use my phone. So I'm live on Instagram. So if you have any questions about landing your first CRA job, or if trying to get in the clinical research space, or anything about the clinical research in terms of career development, drop your questions in the comments, and I just take them on a first come, first serve basis, and I'll answer it live. So I see some on LinkedIn. I don't see any on Instagram yet. So drop your questions if you have them. And let's see. It looks like Bryce is the first person. So Bryce says, how difficult is it to make the transition to a CRA with only a year of CRC experience? Good question, Bryce. And I'm glad you started off with this one because right now, for those of you who don't know, I also just started a group coaching program. It's called CRA Career Jumpstart. And the first thing that it just started on Saturday. That was our very first day, July 1st. And I do actually have one spot left. So if you're interested, DM me. But the very first thing that we covered was mindset stuff. And that's because you have to really get your thoughts right when it comes to achieving any goal really in life. But since we're specifically talking about CRA, to become a CRA. So you can't even let the thought of how difficult even be one of the thoughts or the questions just running through your head, because that is only gonna like create more of what you don't want, which is making it difficult for yourself and dragging out the process of getting your job. Don't even think about that as an option. And it doesn't have to be an option if you choose to release that thought and not let it be an option. So, and you're not the only one, Bryce, because I did this in the beginning of my search too. And I've gotten this question about 3 times today, I think, in my DMs already. So trust me, you're not the only one, which is why I want to point this out, because it's very, very important for you to not let those thoughts creep in, because that's going to keep you further away from your goal. So instead of talking about how difficult it's going to be, think about how easy it could be, how simple it could be. And then once you like literally, it's not any woo-woo to it. It's science, neuroscience to back it up and support it. Literally, your brain will start to think of ways to make it easy, to make it simple. But if you constantly are thinking about how hard it is, then it's going to be hard. It's going to seem hard. And your brain is going to go into protection mode, and it's going to keep you away from that because it's trying to protect you, and it thinks that this thing that you want is hard. So don't even go there. But on another note, you saying that you have a year of coordinator experience is perfect. And some people, they take one experience, which I strongly advise for everybody. If you're serious about your career and taking control of your career, I strongly advise for you to take every single experience and opportunity that you have, regardless of how small the experience might seem, and really get the most out of it. So if you have 1 year of coordinator experience, but you really like try to reach out and connect with as many people as possible so that you can get a little bit of experience in a wide range of, different areas, then that 1 year could really be like 2 or 3, just based off of how much effort and energy you put into it. So think in terms of quality versus quantity. But even if we just stick with the quantity side, a year of coordinator experience is enough. If you've taken advantage of the opportunity, that's enough for you to be prepared for you to step into the CRA role. So I wouldn't even say that it's difficult at all. And this is my thing for myself in my own life. This is my thing for everybody that I work with, but just focus on the thought that landing my first CRA job is going to be fun, simple, and easy. And regardless of how like insane that thought is right now, just kind of play with it and be open-minded and say, well, what if this really could be fun, simple, and easy? And just watch how your brain starts to adapt and change, and how you won't even be asking those questions anymore, because you'll be thinking about how you can actually get this done. if that makes sense. So let me know if you have a follow-up question after that, Bryce. So next question, and I don't see any on Instagram. So Instagram, if y'all have questions, CRA career questions or clinical research career questions, drop them in the comments and then I'll answer it live. So ask me any questions that you have. But I'm going to go back. I'm going to keep going with the questions on LinkedIn. So Fiona asked, does it matter that an applicant does not have an American degree? Nope, Fiona, that does not matter. I have several colleagues and friends that have degrees outside of the US. And I'm assuming that you mean if you want to work in the US. Nope, it doesn't. It does not matter. Thank you for that question. I don't see any on Instagram. Instagram, if y'all have questions, drop them in the comments. Next question, Akina. So, hi, I am an IMG and want to go into clinical research. Akina, can you please let me know what IMG is? I have done 2 certifications on CRA. I haven't applied in a number of places. I need suggestions on how to build experience. I don't mind volunteering for a while. How do I get a good place to volunteer? So, Akina, please let me know what IMG is. But for the first part of your question that you said you've done 2 certifications on CRA, I don't exactly. So a lot of people come to me and they say, like, should I do a certification? I did this certification. And now you're saying you did 2 certifications. I want to make it clear that there is only one true CRA, industry recognized CRA certification, and that's through ACRP. That's the only one right now. That's the only one. And the only way that you can even sit to take that exam to get certified is if you have a certain number of hours of experience monitoring. So you really can't even get this certification until after you've been a CRA or monitor for, a certain amount of time, certain number of hours. So whatever program that you've gotten a certificate from, or maybe they're even referring to it as a certification, you guys have to be really careful about these certificates and certifications. Even people come to me and they're like, oh, I want, are you going to give me a certification or a certificate? And I can give you a certificate, but you have to think about quality again versus quantity. And like just accumulating papers, even degrees, it's still another piece of paper. That is not going to solve your problem. Accumulating pieces of paper is not going to solve your problem. So certifications, be careful when you think about what it is that you're talking about you're certified in, because right now the only industry recognized, like I said, is through ACRP, and then the other organization is SOCRA, but that is a CCRP. So it's a certified clinical research professional that they offer. So please keep that in mind, y'all, when you're getting these certifications. But back to Akina's question. So you said you applied to a number of places. How do you build experience? You want to know how can you get a volunteer opportunity? So the very first clinical research like real clinical research experience I had was volunteering at a site. So the easiest way is to Google a list of local clinical research sites, clinical research facilities that are privately owned, and get a list of them and call them, email them, and let them know, hey, I want to volunteer, but it has to be an even exchange. So don't present it like, oh, I just want to come and work so I can learn what I need to learn and, basically use you and move along. Don't present it that way. Anytime you make a connection, it needs to be of mutual benefit. So present it as if, hey, I want to get some volunteer. I would like to volunteer my time to help support you and your site. I know in right now, the clinical research space, there's a shortage with coordinators. There's a shortage with CTA, CRAs, everybody, there's a shortage. And I want to, offer my time, volunteer my time to work with you guys while I'm learning the industry and growing. And present it so that it's like a mutual exchange, because most sites, most of them would not say no. Even a newbie that is just getting started, that they'll have to train, they would not say no to volunteer help, because a lot of people are drowning. So I suggest that you start with the local places first. And then if you can't find anything with that, I would check out the larger institutions and larger places, but depending on your area, I would be shocked if you can't find somebody in your local area. And like I said, you go to their websites and you can get email. I would email and I would call. Um, back when I was trying to get in, even now, anything that I'm trying to do, I make sure I'm very diligent about, how I pursue, diligent and strategic about how I pursue whoever the contact needs to be. And if I don't have the contact, I'm diligent um about, identifying the contact. Okay, I see some more people joining on Instagram. If you're on Instagram and you welcome, this is Aspiring CRA Q and A, and I do these on Mondays on LinkedIn, on YouTube, but now I'm adding Instagram. So if you have any questions about being a CRA, drop them in the comments. So I hope that answers your question, Akina. If you have any more questions, let me know. Greater Smart says, how can I join the class? I'm assuming you're talking about Jumpstart, and I will grab the link for you. I'll grab the link, Greater Smart, and I'll put it in the comments. Just give me a second. Ebony Taylor. So Ebony's question, come on. Ebony's question, can I do anything to stand out during an HR phone screen for a CRA position? Yes, Ebony, absolutely. So one of the things that people underestimate that help you stand out is making it very clear how much you want not only that role, that job, but how much you want to, be in that position, in that role, specifically at that company and specifically a part of that company's team. Just like any relationship, nobody really wants to get rejected, right? And that applies to companies as well. So I think sometimes we get so caught up in our own, nervousness and our own thoughts and stuff that we forget that on the other end of the company is people, and they still have these same little thoughts running in their head too. So making it very clear and very, frank and candid that you want this position, but more so specifically with this company, this team, and then give them some reasons why. And I don't mean, when I say this, that I don't mean that you have to like just spout out a list and just say, just vomit all this information on them. No, that's not what I'm saying. Weave it into the conversation subtly. So any questions that they're asking you, try to always tie it back into something that when you go on these interviews and you have these conversations, you always want to be doing your research about the company before you even go. So you should have a list of points that you can make. If you don't know what you should be doing during your interviews, check out my podcast, Confessions of a CRA, and I did a whole series on the interview process from beginning to end. And I talk about how to research companies. So you want to weave it in there and make it known that, hey, I want to work for you. This is why. And on top of that, another way that you can stand out is to be able to speak the industry language. So to be able to weave in, yes, some people are coming from other industries. It's people that are already in the clinical research space, study coordinators, CTAs, the different industry language, the and more important things that are related to being a CRA, like, of course, we're monitors, so EDC related stuff, TMF, ISF stuff. If you've done some type of writing letters or writing trip reports, anything that you've done to help support where you had to write, those types of things, then you want to be able to speak the language. And how can you get this experience? You can read books. You can go do other some people are mentioning some of the different trainings that they're doing and offering. I hear the certifications and stuff. And then you can also, of course, reach out, get mentors, hire career coaches. And then if you're already working in the space, you're interacting with these people all the time. When CRAs come to your site, or if you're working for the CRO side, when you're in these meetings, reach out, connect, network with these people. and ask them about their job, ask them about their role, ask them what the day-to-day looks like, get into their world, get into their space, so then you can understand what they're doing, the different terms and language and all the moving pieces, and you'll be able to speak the language during the conversations that you're having with the recruiters. And this is something else that will help you stand out. So those are the two main things that can help you stand out right off the bat with little effort. Let me know if you have another question, Ebony, and follow up to that, to what I just said. So thank you. That was another good one. Fiona has another question. Due to the current competitiveness for this position, does oncology experience required? What do you mean when you say, does oncology experience required? Are you asking, is it required? Is required for the roles that are specifically looking for oncology experience, but in order to become a CRA, no, oncology experience is not required, if that's what you mean. So send me a follow-up question, because I'm not sure what you mean. Hey, if you're on Instagram, drop your questions, your CRA questions in the comments, and I'll answer them live. But I need a follow-up question to that, Fiona. I don't quite understand what you're saying. IMG is international medical graduate. Oh, okay. Well, if you have an international medical degree, that's another thing that also can give you an edge too, actually, Fiona. But drop another. Let me know what you mean by that first question. Does oncology experience required? And then, so Bryce has another question. Sounds great. I was just wondering, I have a BS in biology and currently pursuing an MPH degree. I want as much experience I can gain. I see myself as a CRA manager, director in clinical research one day at a CRO pharma company. I see a lot of people in those positions with CRA experience. Yeah, that's a good path. That's a perfect path, Bryce, that you're taking. That you're already in the space, in the CRC role, you're getting an additional degree, which is good if you are trying to go up into the management director level. It seems like you might even go higher than that. But that's a perfect path. And you're right. Most of those people do have CRA experience. Some of them don't, but I will say the feedback that I get from people that don't is that they feel like something's missing and they don't have. And even when we interact and work with these people who haven't been a CRA, it's challenging for them to understand certain moving pieces of the study and the role just because they haven't had that CRA experience. So you're right, Bryce. That is a good path to take if that is your plan. So I think that's great. And then next, let me see, more people on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, drop any CRA questions that you have in the comments. So this question, it doesn't say who it's from, but I've been an entrepreneur for 4 years ran a successful business and interested in re-entering the workforce because I'm passionate about clinical research. I have a Master of Science in Pharmacology and clinical coordinator, but this experience was about 7 years ago. Experience in heme-oncology as a cytogenetic tech and a research assistant experience. I'm finding it very difficult to get an interview or get my application viewed. What would you suggest for me since my experience isn't as recent, but it looks like it didn't, but I am very, finish that statement, whoever put this in here. But to address the first part about what would I suggest, I would suggest that you just tell your story as is. So explain to people, and I'm not sure what type of business you ran. So that would be helpful information too. If it's a business that you can tie into science, clinical, medical, our space at all, then I would use that as a segue point, saying that, you ran your own business, but you weren't out of the space. If not, and let's say you were doing something completely different, let's say it was something in cosmetics, that's fine too. There's still skills that you acquire being an entrepreneur for all those years. Trust me, I know. Running my coaching business, I've acquired a lot of different new skills. So those skills that you've learned, those are transferable skills that you can relate to them. And I think I see it now. Okay. It says second part to the entrepreneur question, but I am very knowledgeable still. Okay. How can I get a foot in the door or get closer to an interview? Okay. Thank you. Um, thank you for that. So what was I saying? Oh, you've still acquired a lot of transferable skills. So all you have to do, and I see you said my business was in beauty, a nail salon. Okay. So yeah, so even though it's, it wasn't in the clinical research science space or whatever, as long as you can explain, and this goes for everybody that may have taken a step away or a break or what have you, as long as you can explain what you did and turn it into a story that makes sense, and that's relatable, then that's okay. So I would just tell my truth that, why you started this business. Now, don't go on a long tangent because, of course, time, these interviews, these phone screens, they're scheduled, right? They're a scheduled amount of time. So don't take a large amount of time explaining it, but just let them know this is what you decided to do, why you decided to do it for a while, and then now why you want to get back in, and talk about how I would talk about how, I don't know if you've been doing this or not, but if you haven't, definitely talk about how you've been keeping your clinical research skills up throughout that time. So yes, although you've been doing this other thing, you've still been keeping a foot in the industry. So you're still acclimated to, all the different changes and all the different moving pieces. I'm not sure if you joined me last week live when I had Angela on. She is a CRA recruiting specialist and expert, but she talked about how when you step away from the industry more than 2 years, that's when they want to, they want to see a story regardless, but that's when it can come into question, and that's when you really want to get your story tight. But as long as you can explain it, that's fine. So check that out. I think that was the one that we did on last Wednesday. So I hope that was helpful. If not, please drop a follow-up question. Another question from Bryce. Don't say anything on Instagram yet. If you have any CRA questions, please drop them. So question for Bryce. Are there any non-traveling CRA jobs? I see there are in-house CRA roles, but I'm not sure what that actually means by in-house. So yes, and you are onto it again. You're right on track, Bryce. That is, in-house roles are the non-traveling CRA roles, and in-house means it can be a remote role, y'all. In-house does not mean like you're on site in an office. It can still be a remote role, but in-house just means that you're a non-regionally traveling CRA, because in-house CRAs can actually still conduct remote visits, initiation visits, interim visits, closeout visits, the same thing that CRAs are doing and traveling on site. In-house CRAs can actually do that, especially now in today's technology and the way most sites are set up now. A lot of sites, especially in oncology, everything is electronic. So of course, we have EDC is electronic. I guess there's still some paper CRF people out there, but EDC, and then we have a lot of sites are using EMR, electronic medical records, or electronic health records now. So no paper source. They're doing the same thing for the pharmacy system, no logs. They're doing the same thing for the investigator site file. That's the reg binder. No more paper binders. They're doing electronic for that. So a lot of sites are going 100% completely electronic, which allows for us to do a lot more remote monitoring. So now as an in-house CRA, you can literally have a role where you're literally doing the exact same thing as a regional traveling CRA, minus the airport, minus the hotels, minus the travel, if that makes sense. So that was another good question, Bryce. Let me know if you have a follow-up. Fiona asks, hi, Jasmyn. Recruiters told me that entry-level CRA positions are filled by applicants who have oncology experience, hence the question. Oh, I see. Well, Fiona, I don't know what recruiter that was. I don't know what company that was, but I'm just going to have to let you know she lied, or she just doesn't know what she's talking about. She's misinformed. Let me change that. Take that back. She didn't lie. She was just probably misinformed. That's not true. You don't have to have oncology experience. So no, that's not accurate, Fiona. Oh, we already did that one. Gloria the next person up. I just graduated from college with an associate in nursing science. I don't want to go in line of nursing degrees anymore. How can I get into CRA? Gloria, the same way that I have been, well, I don't think I've really talked about it this much today, but if you check out some of the other lives, and even my lives with the Angela, our special summer series with the recruiter, check out those. And we talk about branding yourself, so self-branding, personal branding, and we talk about marketing yourself, self-marketing. And that is going to be the two things that is going to get you where you want to go the quickest. Being able to brand yourself as qualified to be in this CRA space, in this CRA world, and then being able to market that brand, essentially market that brand well enough so that you can sell it and get a job offer. Since you said you got an associate in nursing, I would recommend that you seek out a CTA or study coordinator role first and let that be your bridge into the CRA role. And then that will also give you an opportunity to build a strong foundation in the space so that once you get the CRA job, you're not overwhelmed and you just quit. So I hope that answers your question, Gloria. Let me know if you have any follow-up. So Alicia asked, do you offer branding advice as standalone service? I would like to have someone critique my branding marketing skills, or at least the way I'm branding myself on social media. Alicia, and then wait, you have another follow-up question. I definitely have some ideas on branding marketing myself to showcase my skill set. So Alicia, no, right now I currently do not, but shoot me a DM, and then we can talk about what you're trying to get. And then I think this is from the entrepreneur question. Entrepreneur follow-up. Yes, it was helpful, but I guess my struggle is from the aspect of not getting interviews at all. I think I would be able to convey my story in an interview when I get to that stage, but I'm struggling with getting my application seen or getting in front of a recruiter or hiring manager. Do you have any suggestions to help me gain insight into how to get to the interview step? I am concerned that I'm being overlooked because my experience was so long ago. Fair questions, fair point. I did not cover that part of your question. Same thing that I told Alicia. Same thing that I told Alicia. Personal branding, self-marketing. Every time, that's what kills everybody. If you're not getting to that interview phase, then that is the problem. You are getting overlooked. So the question is, how can I grab their attention? You have to say something that helps you stand out. You have to say something that they want to hear. You have to say something that lets them know that you can solve their problem. And that's how you stand out. And the best way to do that is LinkedIn, because you can create a huge platform on LinkedIn. The people that I work with, we specifically work on creating job attraction systems so that you no longer have to apply and you can just literally have a presence that brings jobs to you. So see, recruiters, hiring managers, they'll literally DM you, email you, call you if you make that information available, and they will invite you to interview. So that would be the quickest way. And if you also, I don't know how long you've been following me, but if you take a look through my feed and take a look at the 30 over 30 series that I did back in November, I went through a step-by-step guide pretty much on how you can update your LinkedIn profile so there's more CRA branded. And I gave examples on how to complete each session and everything. So check that out, and hopefully that will help you guys get some clarity on how you can better brand and market yourself. But that's going to be the question. I mean, the answer every time. If you aren't getting interviews at all, like if you are completely being ghosted and not being heard and not being seen at all, then it's gonna be your branding and marketing is the issue. Okay, if you're on Instagram, I am live and I'm doing Aspiring CRA Q&A. I usually do them on Mondays on LinkedIn and YouTube. And now I've added Instagram. So if you have any questions, drop your questions in the comments. I don't see any more on LinkedIn. So I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes to drop a couple more, and then I'm going to log off for the day. But I did want to just add that I do have, like I said, I do have one spot left for my group coaching program. And in that program, all the things that we've talked about today, I cover all of that and more. So I help walk you from A to be literally, and you'll end up with all the things that you need, all the tools, all the resources, all the materials that you need to not only land your job, but build a job attraction system that I talked about, so you don't even have to worry about applying. So if you're interested in joining my group coaching program, just shoot me a DM. And then I also still have private coaching spots available too. If you're interested in that, you can visit aspiringcra.com. I think I see another question, and let me find trying to find the link. I can't remember who asked for it now, but let me find the link so you can enroll. I see another question. Thanks for I've been a CRC for 5 years. What are the transferable skills in my current role that will benefit me as a CRA? If not, what would you suggest I add to my current job responsibilities that would be transferable? I currently audit all of our consents. Would you suggest anything else? I'm assuming that you do a lot more in your CRC role, or maybe you strictly focus on consents. And that's your only thing, Ebony. I would need a lot more information in order to be able to answer that question. But just to give you an example, a transferable skill of a typical coordinator role, you're entering data into the EDC, right? And then if the CRA or the medical monitors or the data management team, if they have questions in the system, they'll query you, and then you have to respond. So that's one of the transferable skills, because as a CRA, you'll also be going into the EDC system, and you will be the one that's actually creating queries and closing queries. So if you have experience with responding to queries, then you have experience with queries, right? That gives you an edge when it comes to being time for you to write them. The same thing with entering data. You've used these systems, some type of EDC system before. As a CRA, you'll have to use an EDC system. The system might be different, but all of them still kind of have similar kind of structure to them. So if you've seen one, you can most likely navigate another one. But you having that EDC data entry experience will give you an edge, because as a CRA, you need to review and verify the data that has been entered. So that's one example, Ebony. And I don't see a follow-up question to that. And I don't know why I'm having issues finding. I'm gonna find this for you, the link. So I don't see any other questions. So I'm gonna go ahead. Let me get this link and drop it in here. So if you're interested in joining Jumpstart, like I said, I have one more spot available. And here's the link. I just dropped it in the chat. Of course. Okay. For some reason, it doesn't want to go on LinkedIn. I'll get it as soon as this live over. I'll drop it on LinkedIn too. But I don't see any more questions. I don't see a follow-up, Ebony. I tried to wait a little bit. Let me see if you're gonna drop it. Don't see a follow-up, Ebony. Okay. Well, maybe DM me, Ebony, so I can answer the rest of your question. But I don't see any more questions, y'all. So as always, I love doing these. I'm going to start adding Instagram. So join me on Instagram if Instagram people, they're Mondays at Ebony says no follow-up. Okay. So join me Mondays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do these Q&A, so you can ask me all of your questions here. But like I said, thank you so much, guys, for joining me. And if you have any more questions in between, also I forgot to mention Wednesday, I'll be going live again, continuing the summer series with Angela. And this time we're going to be talking about fake fraudulent CRAs and how they're changing the game, the industry of the game. So you definitely don't want to miss that out, because there's also a lot of really qualified, great candidates out here, but because of the way that you might be showing up online, you look like a fraudulent CRA and you're not even trying to, right? You're just trying to get a job. So regardless of who you are, you definitely want to join and watch on Wednesday, because this is a topic that could really get you into trouble even if you aren't a fraudulent CRA, just trying to just be yourself, right? So join me. And I guess that wraps up today. So if you need me, you know where to find me. You can DM me on LinkedIn. Thank you guys for joining me. And I hope you guys enjoy the 4th tomorrow as well. So for everybody in the US. But thank you guys for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.